You've probably spent years, maybe even decades, honing your English grammar, building up a really solid vocabulary. You can write well, you can understand complex ideas, but sometimes there's still that feeling, right? That subtle gap when you speak. It's like your speech doesn't quite feel, I don't know, effortless, truly American sounding. You know what I mean? It's that difference between just being understood and really sounding, well, native or close to it.
Absolutely. That feeling is so common.
You watch American movies or you listen to music and you hear someone speaking and it flows. It sounds so natural, so unforced. And you can't help but think, how do they do that? How can I get that kind of naturalness?
It's a really understandable desire. And it goes beyond just sounding good. That kind of accent, that natural flow, it builds confidence. It makes your communication feel more connected, more immediate.
Yeah, and I've definitely noticed that sometimes someone might have, slightly imperfect grammar or maybe not the widest vocabulary, but if their accent is spot on, if it sounds really natural, you perceive them as incredibly fluent, incredibly articulate.
It's so true. Pronunciation and rhythm have this huge impact on perception. It's often that final polish that really elevates someone's English.
It really is transformative. So for those of you listening who are really focused on bridging that gap, on mastering the American accent to unlock that, that next level of fluency and confidence, well, you are definitely in the right place today. We've got a great deep dive plan. We're digging into a really detailed guide called Dominando el Acento Americano, Guía para la Fluidez. And this isn't like a beginner's guide. It's specifically written for advanced learners, people like you who are already pretty good, but want to go further.
That's the crucial part. This is for learners who have a solid foundation but want to fine-tune that accent, to really move from just being understood to sounding, well, much more native-like. And what I find really interesting about this guide, what makes it stand out, is its approach. It doesn't just give you a list of rules or exercises without explaining why. It actually delves deep into the architecture of the American accent. It's kind of like taking an engine apart piece by piece. It shows you the mechanics, the how, and the why behind the sounds and rhythms that native speakers produce without even thinking about it.
So it's not just what to do, but how it all works together, like understanding the gears and levers inside the machine.
Exactly. Understanding those underlying principles is key to making real, lasting changes in your own speech. That's the core insight here.
Makes sense. That foundational understanding is probably what enables real progress.
Precisely. So our mission today is really to pull out the most impactful insights from this guide. We want to help you understand what makes the American accent tick and, importantly, give you practical, actionable tips you can start using right away, maybe even uncover a few surprising aha moments along the way.
I'm definitely looking forward to those aha moments. They're often the things that really unlock progress in language learning, aren't they?
They really are.
Okay, so the American accent. But the guide makes a really important point right at the start, doesn't it? There isn't just one single American accent. It's not this monolithic thing.
Not at all. And that's probably the first myth to bust for any learner. Chasing the American accent is like chasing a ghost. The U.S. is just so huge, so diverse, geographically and culturally, and that creates this incredibly rich tapestry of regional variations.
Yeah, I can definitely picture that linguistic map you mentioned. Someone from Texas sounds completely different from someone in New York City.
Absolutely. Or think about the classic Boston accent, where they might drop their R's. Or the vowel sounds you hear in the Midwest versus the West Coast. Even within regions, there are subtle differences. These accents are fascinating. But if your goal is broad understanding and sounding natural almost anywhere,
then focusing on just one specific regional accent might actually be counterproductive, right?
Exactly. It could even lead to confusion outside that particular region. Which is why the guide and our focus today is on what's called General American.
General American. Okay. So what exactly is that then?
Think of it as the accent that's become largely deregionalized. It's the more neutral, widely understood accent you often hear on, say, national news broadcasts or in mainstream Hollywood movies, network TV shows. It's not really tied to one specific place.
Okay, so it's a solid foundation, a kind of common ground accent that allows for clear communication pretty much anywhere in the U.S. and probably internationally too. Makes sense as a target for learners.
It's a very strategic choice, yes.
So this general American sound, the guide breaks it down into 4 core phonetic building blocks, like the fundamental parts of the engine. What's the first major piece?
The first, and maybe one of the most distinctive features you hear right away, is rhoticity.
Roticity. Okay, sounds a bit technical. What does it mean in practice?
It just refers to how Americans typically pronounce the R sound, especially when it's at the end of a word or before another consonant. Think about a simple word like car.
Car. Okay, I'm saying it. Yeah, there's a definite R sound there. A
Yeah.
strong one.
And I feel my tongue sort of curling back in the middle. Car.
That's it exactly. That clear, strong R,
Yeah.
often made with the tongue bunching or curling back, that's rhoticity. Now, contrast that with, say, standard British English, where the R in car might be softened or dropped altogether.
Mm.
It sounds more like ka.
Right. Car versus cock. Big difference.
Huge difference. That distinct pronounced R is a real hallmark of General American. It's one of those immediate auditory signals. So mastering that tongue position, that muscular engagement for the R is really crucial.
Got it. So a strong R is pretty non-negotiable for this General American sound. Okay, what's the second core element?
The second one is really interesting and often a big aha moment for learners. It's called the flap T.
The flap T. Okay, I've heard of this. It always sounded a bit mysterious, like some secret linguistic code. What's the deal with it? It's less a strict rule and more about efficiency. It's how American English naturally smooths things out. Basically, when a T sound happens between two vowel sounds, or sometimes between a vowel and an L sound,
Yeah.
native speakers tend to soften it. That hard T sound transforms into a really quick light D sound. Your tongue just quickly taps or flaps against the roof of your mouth.
So it's like the mouth taking the easiest, quickest path between sounds. Phonetic efficiency.
Precisely. It's not about being lazy or sloppy. It's about being efficient. And this is where learners often trip up. If you try to pronounce every single T really clearly and sharply in words like water or city, your speech can sound a little stiff. Maybe even robotic.
Ah, okay. I can see that.
But if you embrace the flap T, you instantly sound more natural, more connected. The classic example is water becoming water.
Water.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember noticing that years ago and thinking, wait, did they just say D? It felt like cracking a code.
It happens constantly. Once you tune your ear to it, you hear it everywhere. Think about better, becoming better.
Better.
Okay. Or little, becoming little. Metal often sounds like metal.
Little, metal.
Wow. Even common words like butter, city, data, they often become butter, city, data in fast, natural speech. Getting this one seemingly small change down can make a huge difference. It makes your English sound less textbook and much more effortless.
That's a fantastic insight. Sometimes sounding more natural means adopting what might feel like a softer or less distinct pronunciation.
Exactly. It's about matching the natural rhythm and efficiency that native speakers use unconsciously. It's a real game changer.
Okay, so we have rhoticity for that strong R and the flap T for that efficient D-like sound. What's the third foundational piece?
The third area involves vowel sounds, and this is where subtle shifts can have a really major impact on how you're perceived.
Vowels. Okay, I mean A, E, I, O, U seems straightforward, but you're saying there's more nuance?
Oh, absolutely. The specific sounds associated with those letters in American English can be quite distinct from other varieties of English or from your native language. Even tiny little variations in how you pronounce a vowel can sometimes make a word sound completely different or just, slightly off or foreign. Precision matters here. American English has its own unique set of vowel sounds, its own inventory. The guide uses the word dance as a great example to illustrate this.
Dance. Okay, how does that show the subtlety?
In General American, the A in dance is usually pronounced with what's called a short A sound. It's the same vowel sound as in cat or hat. The symbol is A.
Okay, cat, dance.
A. To make that sound, you typically drop your jaw a bit, maybe spread your lips slightly, and your tongue is somewhat flat and forward. It's kind of a bright sound. Dance.
Dance, I'm trying it. Dropping the jaw.
Yeah. Now contrast that with how dance might be pronounced in some other accents, like maybe some British or Australian accents. They might use a longer, broader A sound, more like the A in father or car. The symbol is lay.
Father.
So instead of dis, you might hear something closer to dis. For that toe sound, the jaw is usually more relaxed, and the tongue is lower and further back in the mouth. It's a deeper sound.
Dance E versus D-ance, Alan. Wow. Just changing that one vowel sound really alters the whole character of the word, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and that's just one vowel. There are lots of these subtle but important distinctions across the American vowel system. So really tuning your ear to pick up on these specific sounds and then training your mouth to produce them accurately is critical for achieving that authentic American sound.
I definitely see how that would require focused practice. Okay, rhoticity, flap T, vowel sounds.
hmm
What's the fourth pillar? The one that gives speech its, like, personality.
Exactly. The fourth element is intonation and stress. This is the music, the rhythm, the very pulse of American English.
The melody and the beat, the ups and downs in pitch and volume.
Precisely. It's not just about making the individual sounds correctly. It's about how you weave those sounds together into sentences that sound natural, meaningful, and, well, engaging. American English generally puts emphasis or stress on the words that carry the most important meaning in a sentence.
Like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. The main content words.
Exactly right. Those content words usually get stressed. This means they might be said with a slightly higher pitch, a bit louder, or held for a fraction longer. And conversely, the smaller function words like prepositions to for in, articles, a, the conjunctions, and, but, auxiliary verbs is, are, do, they often get reduced.
Reduced, meaning?
They're softened, shortened, sometimes almost swallowed. Their volume gets turned down, so to speak.
Ah, okay. So it's like conducting an orchestra. You highlight the important instruments, the meaning carriers, while the background instruments play more softly.
That's a perfect analogy. It creates this natural ebb and flow, this dynamic rhythm, a kind of dance between the strong beats, stressed words, and the weak beats, unstressed, reduced words within a sentence. Mastering this rhythm is absolutely key. It's what makes your speech easy to follow, engaging to listen to, and ultimately sound incredibly fluent and natural. Without it, even perfectly pronounced words can sound kind of flat and disconnected.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the four pillars: rhoticity, strong R, flap TD sounds, specific vowel sounds, and intonation stress, the music. That gives us a really solid blueprint for General American. But knowing the blueprint is one thing. Actually building the house, mastering these sounds, that's the challenge. How do we do that practically? What tools does the guide recommend?
Right, the practical application. Well, the guide makes a strong case for learning and using the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA.
Ah, the IPA. Yeah, I have to admit those charts with all the strange symbols can look pretty intimidating at first glance, like learning hieroglyphics or something.
That's a very common reaction. Many learners feel that initial barrier. But honestly, once you get past that and start to understand its logic, the IPA becomes an incredibly powerful tool. It's like a universal map for sounds.
And it's way more precise than relying on English spelling, right? Which is notoriously inconsistent.
Infinitely more precise. English spelling is a minefield for pronunciation. Oh, can be pronounced so many different ways. But an IPA symbol tells you exactly what sound it is. It can show you where your tongue should be, what shape your lips should make, whether your vocal cords vibrate or not. It removes the guesswork. The guide actually includes an IPA chart specifically tailored for American English sounds. It's essentially your detailed pronunciation roadmap.
So if I'm stuck on a sound, the IPA can literally show me the physical mechanics needed to make it correctly.
Oh.
Okay, I can see the value. It might be worth overcoming that initial intimidation factor, especially for tricky sounds.
It really can unlock those persistent problems. And speaking of tricky sounds, the guide specifically zooms in on some common vowel sounds that give learners trouble, especially if they don't exist in their first language.
Yes, let's drill down into those. What are some common vowel challenges?
Okay, a big one is the short A sound, like in cat, hat, map. The IPA symbol is A. We touched on this with dance. Remember, for A, think about dropping your jaw a bit. Tongue flat and forward, bright sound. It's crucial to distinguish it from the broader A, like in father or hot. That one's more relaxed, tongue lower and back.
Cat, A versus father. Got it.
Oh!
That jaw drop feels key for A.
It is. Then there's the E sound in bed, IPA symbol. For this, your mouth is slightly open, tongue sort of mid-height, fairly relaxed. Bed.
Right, okay.
Next, the I sound in sit, IPA 2. This is a very relaxed, short sound. Your jaw is only slightly open, tongue loose. Very different from the tense, long E sound I in seat.
Sit versus seat. Yeah, sit feels much looser in the mouth.
Exactly. Moving on, the O sound in dog. IPA. This is often a bit rounded, lips slightly pushed forward, tongue low and back. Dog, do. Some American accents merge this with dog, but it's often distinct.
Dog. Lips rounded. Okay.
Then the U sound in book, IPA. Lips are a bit rounded but relaxed, not tight. Tongue is high and back, but again relaxed. It's a short sound. Book.
Book. book, short and relaxed. Ooh.
And finally, the long U sound, like in blue, IPAU. Notice the two dots, the colon. That often indicates length in IPA. For you, your lips are definitely rounded, quite tense, almost like you're whistling. Tongue is high and back.
Boo.
Blue.
Blue. More tension, lips puckered. Okay, actively thinking about the mouth position helps a lot.
Yeah.
And then the superstar, the MVP of American vowels.
The schwa.
Ah, yes, the schwa.
Yeah.
It absolutely deserves the MVP title. Why? Because it is the most common vowel sound in American English by far. You find it in almost every unstressed syllable. Think of the A in about regiment, or the first A in banana branded, or the O in today's syllable, or the U in supply. Wow, it really is everywhere. So it's that super quick, neutral, almost lazy sound.
You could call it lazy, but it's more like efficient. It's the default sound the mouth makes with minimal effort when a syllable isn't stressed. Mastering the schwa is crucial for getting the rhythm right. It's what allows stressed syllables to pop while unstressed syllables flow quickly. It's the glue holding natural speech together.
So using the schwa isn't being unclear. It's actually key to sounding natural and rhythmic.
Precisely. If you try to fully pronounce every vowel and every unstressed syllable, your speech will sound very unnatural, very choppy. The schwa provides the necessary contrast and flow.
Okay, the schwa, essential for rhythm. Got it. So we've tackled some tricky vowels. What about consonants? Does the guide highlight any common consonant challenges?
It definitely singles out the thus sounds. These are famously difficult because many languages simply don't have them. You need to learn a whole new tongue position.
Right, that tongue between the teeth thing feels really weird at first.
It does. And the key thing the guide points out is that there are actually two distinct the sounds, not just one. They have different symbols and, crucially, different production. First, there's the voiced the, IPA symbol E. Voiced means your vocal cords vibrate when you make the sound. You can feel it in your throat.
Like in this, that, they, mother.
Exactly. Put your fingers on your throat when you say those words. This, that. You should feel a buzzing. Eaches.
Okay, trying it. This. Yeah, I feel a definite vibration. Buzzing.
Good. Now, the second one is the voiceless the, IPA symbol A. Voiceless means no vocal cord vibration. It's just air passing through.
Like in think 3, thanks, path.
Perfect examples. Try those with your fingers on your throat again. Think 3. You should just feel air, no buzzing. Heeks, there.
Think, right? No vibration, just air. That's a really important distinction many learners might miss.
It's critical, and the guide gives a great practical tip for practicing both. Gently place the very tip of your tongue just between your upper and lower front teeth. Don't stick it way out, just slightly touching.
Okay, tongue tip between teeth.
Then, for the voice day, this. Try to make a buzzing sound, vibrating your vocal cords while pushing air gently around the tongue. For the voiceless, think, just blow air gently through that small gap. Again, no vibration.
Vibrate for DA, just blow air for TD. Okay. I remember practicing this in the mirror and feeling incredibly silly.
Everyone feels silly at first, but it works. Consistent practice makes it automatic. And honestly, mastering these two sounds makes a huge difference in clarity and sounding authentically American. They're strong indicators.
Definitely worth the effort then. And we should probably loop back to the flap T again quickly, shouldn't we? Since it's so common and impactful.
Yes, absolutely worth reiterating because it's such a frequent feature of natural American speech. We had water becoming water. Remember, also butter often becomes butter. City sounds like city.
Right.
Think about a phrase like, put the letter in the metal bottle. In natural connected speech, you'd likely hear something closer to, put the letter in the metal bottle.
Put the letter in the metal bottle. Wow. It sounds so different when you break it down, but that's exactly how it often sounds, that quick to flick.
It's that efficiency again. That little tap instantly signals a more native-like rhythm and flow. It's a small change with a big impact on how natural you sound.
Okay, fantastic. So we've gone deep on individual sounds, vowels, consonants like the flap T. That's like tuning the individual instruments. But as you said, we don't speak in isolated sounds. Words connect, they flow together. Which brings us to linking and reduction, right? These seem crucial for that smooth flow.
Absolutely critical. If you only focus on individual sounds, you miss the music of how they blend together in actual speech. Linking and reduction, or the choreography.
Okay, let's break that down. What's the main idea behind linking?
Linking is essentially about creating smooth transitions between words. It's avoiding those tiny pauses or breaks between words that can make speech sound choppy. You blend the end sound of one word directly into the beginning sound of the next.
Can you give a concrete example?
Sure. Take the phrase an apple. You don't usually say on pause apple. The N sound at the end of N links directly to the A sound at the beginning of apple. It sounds like a napple.
A napple. Okay, I hear it.
Or if a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, like pick it up, the K links to I, and the T, which might become a flap T, links to U. So it sounds more like pick it up.
Pick it up, pick it up. That seamless blending. Okay, that's linking. So how is reduction different?
Reduction is about changing or even omitting sounds, particularly in unstressed function words, to make speech faster and smoother. It's about making those less important words smaller and quicker.
Okay, this is where we get things like going to becoming gonna, right?
Exactly. Gonna is a perfect example of reduction. Also, want to becoming wanna, have to often becomes hafta, should've can sound like shoulda, could've becomes coulda, for might sound like fur, and often reduces to just n, or even just n.
So, gonna, wanna, hafta, shoulda, fur, things. These aren't just like lazy slang then. The guide says they're actually part of normal speech.
Absolutely essential parts of natural, everyday spoken American English. The guide really stresses this. Trying to avoid them and pronounce every single word fully and distinctly is a major reason why learners sometimes sound, well, unnatural or robotic.
Why is that? Wouldn't clear pronunciation be better?
You'd think so, but here's the key. Native speakers don't pronounce every word distinctly. We use linking and reduction constantly for rhythm and efficiency. If you avoid them, you break that natural rhythm. The guide uses that great analogy of dancing. You need smooth transitions between the steps, not just perfectly executed individual moves. Linking and reduction are those smooth transitions in speech.
That makes so much sense. It's about the overall flow, the performance, not just isolated perfect steps. The rhythm makes it sound effortless.
Precisely. Without linking and reduction, you're essentially speaking word by word by word. And that's just not how natural conversation flows.
Yeah.
Mastering these will radically improve how natural and fluent you sound.
Okay. Pronunciation mechanics, linking, reduction. That covers the sound aspect really thoroughly. But as you said earlier, a perfect accent isn't enough on its own.
Right.
You need the right words too. Vocabulary matters.
Hugely. You can sound perfectly American, but if you don't have the words to express your thoughts precisely or naturally, you're still limited. And the guide emphasizes it's not just about memorizing lists, it's about understanding how words are used in real life, their common partners, their nuances.
Right. Usage over just definition, which leads us directly to things like idioms and phrasal verbs, which the guide highlights.
Yes. Because they are absolutely everywhere in everyday American English. They add color and efficiency, but they can be really tricky because their meaning isn't literal.
Totally. Idioms expressions where the meaning is figurative, like bite the bullet. Doesn't involve actual bullets.
Right. It means to face a difficult or unpleasant situation with courage. Or kick the bucket means to die. Or let the cat out of the bag means to reveal a secret. Using idioms correctly makes your English sound much more natural and, colorful.
Adds personality. And then phrasal verbs, those verbs plus preposition combos.
Oh, they are essential. Turn on the light, figure out a problem, get along with someone, look forward to an event, put off a task. The list is endless.
Turn on, figure out, get along with, look forward to, put off. Yeah, they're constant.
And the guide stresses it's not just knowing the meaning, it's knowing how and when to use them appropriately, which really comes from exposure and practice.
Hearing them in context, seeing how native speakers use them, and then daring to try them yourself, that iterative process again.
Exactly. And beyond these common expressions, the guide also pushes learners to expand their lexical range to learn and use more advanced or precise vocabulary.
Moving beyond the basics to add more sophistication.
Precisely. Instead of just saying something is everywhere, the guide suggests learning a word like ubiquitous. Wi-Fi is ubiquitous these days.
Ubiquitous. Nice word.
Or instead of short-lived, maybe use ephemeral. Fame can be ephemeral.
Ephemeral. Good one.
Or, for the perfect example, the word quintessential. Apple pie is the quintessential American dessert.
Quintessential. Okay.
Yeah.
Using words like ubiquitous, ephemeral, quintessential definitely adds precision and, sophistication.
It enriches your ability to express yourself with nuance. It expands your mental map of the language, allows you to paint with finer detail, so to speak.
Great way to put it. And there was one more vocabulary point the guide emphasized for naturalness. collocations.
Ah, collocations, yes. Super important for sounding natural. These are simply words that just sound right together in English. They naturally pair up.
Like word partnerships that native speakers use without thinking.
Exactly. The guide gives clear examples. Usually make a decision, not do a decision.
Right. Make a decision.
You typically take a break, maybe less commonly, have a break. You do homework, not make homework. You pay attention, not give attention.
Take a break. Do homework. Pay attention. Okay. These might seem small, but using the wrong partner word can sound off.
It can sound a bit awkward or unnatural, yeah. Learning these common pairings helps your speech flow much more smoothly and sound more authentic. It avoids those slightly jarring combinations. It just sounds right.
Okay. Pronunciation, vocabulary, idioms, collocations.
Yeah.
We're building a really comprehensive picture. But none of this works if you can't understand what people are saying back to you. Listening comprehension has got to be fundamental.
Oh, absolutely vital. It's the other half of the conversation equation. You can't respond naturally if you haven't understood accurately. It's the foundation.
So, how does the guide suggest we boost our listening skills, specifically for the American accent and natural speech patterns?
The number one recommendation is immersion. Surround yourself with authentic American English as much as possible.
Which, as we know, can be a challenge if you're not living in the U.S.
True. But the good news is technology makes immersion incredibly accessible now, wherever you are. The guide points to movies and TV shows as prime resources.
Yeah, they're like a goldmine for real language, aren't they?
Totally. Think about shows like Friends, The Office, Stranger Things, whatever you enjoy. You're getting hours of authentic dialogue, natural pacing, intonation, slang, idioms, all in context.
And it's enjoyable. You learn while being entertained, which helps motivation. What should listeners focus on when watching?
Don't just follow the plot. Really listen to how people talk. Notice the linking, the reductions we talked about. Pay attention to the rhythm, the stress patterns. How do they express emotion through intonation? Pause and repeat lines that sound interesting or natural.
Good tips. And the guide also mentions American podcasts and radio, things like This American Life or Radiolab.
Yes, excellent examples of high-quality spoken American English. But the podcast world is vast. You can find podcasts on literally any topic you're interested in. Cooking, history, tech, true crime, comedy. Find something you genuinely enjoy, and you'll be immersing yourself in hours of native speech about topics you care about. It makes listening practice feel less like work.
Definitely. But the guide draws an important line between just having something on in the background and really learning from listening, right? It talks about active listening.
Yes, this is crucial. Passive listening, just having the TV on while you do chores, is okay for general exposure. But active listening is where the focused learning happens. It requires conscious effort and engagement.
So what does active listening look like in practice? How do you do it?
It means really tuning in, paying deliberate attention, trying to catch new words or phrases, listening for specific things like the flap T or schwa sounds, noticing intonation contours, maybe even trying to predict what the speaker will say next.
Engaging the brain, not just the ears.
Exactly. The guide suggests practical techniques like taking notes on new vocabulary or interesting phrases you hear, or pausing the audio and immediately repeating a sentence aloud, trying to mimic the pronunciation and intonation exactly.
That repetition technique, shadowing, seems really powerful.
Shadowing is fantastic. It trains your ear and your mouth simultaneously. You're listening intently and immediately trying to reproduce the sounds, rhythm, and melody. It builds muscle memory and sharpens your perception of native speech patterns. Start small, just a phrase, then build up.
Active listening and shadowing, powerful tools. Okay, so we're getting better at listening. Now, the big hurdle for many, building speaking confidence. It can be really intimidating.
It really can. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding silly, fear of not being understood. These are major psychological barriers for language learners.
So what's the guide's advice for overcoming this and actually starting to speak more confidently?
Well, the ideal scenario, of course, is practice with native speakers. But again, access can be an issue. The guide strongly recommends exploring language exchange apps and websites.
Like Tandem or HelloTalk, where you find someone learning your language.
Exactly. It's a great setup. You help them practice your native language. They help you practice English. It's low pressure, often free, and you connect with real people. You can also look for local language exchange meetups in your area if they exist.
Good options for real interaction. But what about someone who feels really shy, maybe not quite ready for a live conversation yet? Are there ways to practice speaking alone?
Absolutely. The guide suggests several effective self-practice techniques. One is simple, but incredibly insightful. Record yourself speaking.
Ah, yes. Listening back to your own voice. It can be a bit painful sometimes, but very revealing.
It really is. You suddenly hear the hesitations, the pronunciation errors, the awkward rhythms that you don't notice while you're actually speaking. It allows for objective self-assessment and helps you pinpoint exactly what needs work.
Makes sense. And we mentioned shadowing for listening, but it's equally powerful for speaking practice too, right?
Right. Definitely. When you shadow, you're not just listening, you're actively producing the sounds, mimicking the intonation and rhythm. It's a direct speaking exercise that bypasses the need to formulate your own sentences initially, letting you focus purely on the physical production of speech.
So it builds the muscle memory for the sounds and flow.
Precisely. And another tool the guide suggests leveraging is speech recognition software.
Like the voice typing on your phone or computer. How does that help?
Think of it as an unbiased listener providing instant feedback. Talk to it. Dictate sentences. If the software consistently misunderstands you or writes down the wrong words, it's a clear signal that your pronunciation of those specific sounds or words needs attention.
That's clever. A low-stakes way to check your clarity. Okay, lots of ways to practice speaking. Now, we've covered sounds, words, listening, speaking, but the guide stresses something else is vital, understanding the cultural context.
Hugely important. Language doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's deeply, inextricably woven into the culture that uses it. You can't fully master American English without understanding something about American culture.
Why is that so crucial for fluency, beyond just knowing, say, holiday names?
Because culture shapes everything, how people communicate, their assumptions, their humor, their references, what's considered polite or direct. Understanding cultural norms helps you interpret implicit meanings. For instance, knowing about American optimism or individualism might help you understand certain conversational styles. Getting references to popular movies or historical events makes you part of the shared cultural conversation. It adds layers of understanding.
It allows you to connect on a deeper level beyond just the words, and the guide mentions American slang specifically.
Yeah,
That seems like a cultural minefield sometimes.
it can be. Slang evolves constantly. Words like cool, awesome, chill, lit, vibe, understanding their current meaning and usage is important for informal conversation. If you're unfamiliar, you can easily miss the humor or the actual meaning.
Keeping up with slang is part of understanding the living language. And what about variations within the U.S. culture itself?
Good point. The guide acknowledges regional vocabulary differences, too. The classic example is what you call a sweetened carbonated beverage.
Right. Is it soda, pop, or just Coke? Depends entirely on where you are.
Exactly. That one word illustrates the country's internal diversity. The guide encourages appreciating this richness, even while you focus on learning general American. Understanding the cultural context, including slang and regionalisms, adds depth and nuance to your language skills.
Definitely. Okay, so we have the sounds, the words, the practice, the culture. But underpinning all of this, the guide says, is the right mindset. How you approach learning matters immensely.
It's fundamental. Your attitude can make or break your progress. One of the biggest mental shifts the guide advocates for is trying to think directly in English.
Instead of constantly translating back and forth from your native language in your head.
Exactly. That translation step slows you down, makes your speech less spontaneous, and often leads to unnatural phrasing because sentence structures differ.
It's a tough habit to break, but crucial for real fluency. How do you even practice thinking in English?
The guide suggests starting small. Narrate your daily actions to yourself, silently, in English. Okay, I'm getting up now. I need to brush my teeth. What's for breakfast? Try describing objects around you or your feelings without letting the thought form in your native language first. Keep a simple journal in English. Have internal monologues about your day, your plans, anything all in English. It trains your brain to operate directly in the target language.
Building that mental muscle.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And another key mindset point is viewing fluency as a journey, not a destination.
Yes, this is so important. Fluency isn't a static point you reach and then you're done. It's an ongoing process of learning, refining, discovering. Seeing it this way takes off a lot of pressure. It allows you to celebrate progress rather than fixate on perfection.
Right, makes it less daunting and more sustainable. And the guide also encourages leveraging all available resources. Don't stick to just one method.
Exactly. Explore language apps, websites, YouTube channels, online communities like Reddit forums for learners. Find conversation partners, watch movies, listen to music. Find what works for you, what keeps you engaged, what makes learning fun. Mix and match. Make it sustainable for the long haul.
Good advice. Now, on the flip side, awareness is key. Does the guide warn against any common mistakes or pitfalls that learners often fall into?
It does. Knowing these can help you consciously avoid them. A big one is overusing formal language in casual settings.
Sounding too much like a textbook or a very formal letter when you're just chatting.
Precisely. Using overly complex sentences, very formal vocabulary, greetings instead of hi, or just a generally stiff tone when relaxed, casual language is more appropriate. It can sound unnatural or distant. Adapting your register is key.
Okay, avoid sounding like a robot in casual chat. What else?
Another common issue is mispronouncing frequent everyday words you use all the time.
Like which ones?
The guide might mention words like comfortable, often has a syllable dropped, comfortable, vegetable, vej pool, library, often sounds like o brewery, probably, pray or pray boobly, interesting or interesting.
Comfortable vegetable library, probably. Interesting. Yeah, I can hear how those could be tricky.
And because you say them so often, getting them wrong significantly impacts your overall clarity and perceived fluency. It's worth drilling those common ones.
Makes sense. Any other major pitfalls?
Yes. Incorrect intonation and stress. We talked about the music, right? Getting the stress wrong can, at best, sound unnatural, and at worst, completely change the meaning of a word.
Like your example earlier, record the noun versus record the verb.
Exactly. Did you record the show versus where's the record?
Well,
Totally different meanings based purely on stress. Paying close attention to word and sentence stress is crucial.
Crucial for meaning. And the last big mistake, the guide hammers home.
Direct translation. Trying to translate word for word or sentence structure for sentence structure from your native language into English. It almost never works perfectly. Grammar is different, word order is different, idioms are different. It usually results in awkward, clunky, unnatural sounding English.
Which circles right back to the need to think in English. Avoid that translation trap. Okay, good warnings. So to wrap up the practical side, the guide suggests some consistent exercises, right? Things to actually do.
Yes, active practice is key. Tongue twisters are a classic for a reason.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Always a fun challenge.
They're great for articulation, for practicing difficult sound combinations, building coordination in your mouth muscles. A fun way to drill sounds.
What about role playing?
Excellent for practical application. Act out common scenarios, ordering food, asking for help, a job interview, making small talk. Practice the specific language and responses needed for those situations. It makes the language active, not just passive knowledge.
Puts it right into a usable context.
Yeah.
And revisiting, reading aloud, and recording.
Still one of the best self-assessment tools. Read a passage, record it, listen back critically, compare it to a native speaker reading the same text if possible. You'll catch things about your rhythm, pronunciation, and intonation you'd otherwise miss.
Self-correction power and dictation exercises.
Great for boosting listening acuity. Listen to a short audio clip, podcast, news, movie dialogue, and write down exactly what you hear. It forces you to catch every sound, every reduction, every link. Excellent for ear training and spelling, too.
Okay, tongue twisters, role-playing, reading aloud recording, dictation, lots of active practice options, and the absolute most critical element for all of this practice.
Has to be consistency.
Knew it.
It really is the secret sauce. Even 10-15 minutes of focused practice every day is far, far more effective than trying to cram for hours once a week. Make it a habit.
Small, consistent steps lead to big, long-term results. Build that momentum.
Exactly. That regular engagement builds the neural pathways and muscle memory you need.
Wow. Okay, we have covered an incredible amount of detail today. It's so clear that achieving that natural American accent, that real fluency, it's a whole package deal, isn't it? Not just one thing.
It really is a multifaceted journey. It's so much more than just grammar rules and vocabulary lists. Those are important too, of course. It's truly understanding the sounds, the rhythm, the music of the language. It's grasping the cultural context, using words naturally, linking everything together smoothly. It's about the overall feel.
And this guide we've been exploring, Dominando el Acento Americano, sounds like it provides a really comprehensive and practical roadmap for that journey, the tools, the insights.
It really does. It gives you that deeper understanding. And the main message we really want to leave everyone with today is one of empowerment. This goal, sounding fluent, natural, mastering that American accent, it is achievable.
It takes work. It takes time, no doubt.
Definitely. But it's absolutely within reach. And the rewards are just huge, aren't they?
Oh, totally. Being able to connect more deeply with people, share your ideas without friction, access a whole world of information and entertainment. It's incredibly empowering.
That feeling of being truly understood and understanding others fully, it just opens up so many doors, personally and professionally.
Absolutely. Okay, so for a final thought, something practical for you, our listener,
Mm.
to take away and try right now. Let's issue a little challenge.
Yes, let's make it concrete. Here's the challenge. For the next day or so, pick just one specific element we talked about today. Just focus on one single thing.
Okay, like what? Give us an example.
Maybe you decide to really focus on listening for and trying to use the flap T. Every time you see a T between vowels, consciously think flap.
Ooh.
Or maybe pick one new idiom or phrasal verb we mentioned, like figure out or ubiquitous, and actively try to use it in a conversation or even just in your thoughts.
Or maybe just tune your ear specifically to intonation the next time you watch an American show. Notice the peaks and valleys in pitch.
Exactly. Pick just one thing. And then really pay attention. Notice how native speakers do it. Then try it yourself, even if it feels awkward at first. See what you discover.
I love that. That focused attention and experimentation, that's where the learning happens.
It truly is. That cycle.
Yeah.
Observe, experiment, learn, repeat. That's how you build skill.
And importantly, try to have fun with it. Language learning can feel like hard work sometimes, but finding the joy and discovery is key.
Absolutely. Keep that curiosity, that passion for the language alive.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. So keep practicing, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep speaking. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.